So I'm going to talk to you today about career pivots after diagnosis with pulmonary hypertension, or in my case, even more so, it was post-transplant. So let's go back a bit. As well as getting pulmonary hypertension through my DNA, I had the genetic form. I also managed to get my absolute passion for dogs. My mum loved dogs, and that's definitely something that's been passed on to me. So we always lived with dogs. From before I was born, there were dogs in the house, and all the way through growing up. And then when my mum remarried, there were actually about 11 dogs in the house at one stage. Irish setters, beautiful, beautiful dogs. My mum used to show the dogs, so we spent many a weekend away at dog shows, meeting up with friends, playing with the kids of friends, playing with the dogs. Going on long walks, taking the dogs on holiday, making sure we found a dog friendly accommodation. So, really, dogs have always been a huge part of my life. When I first moved away from home after uni, I came abroad and started working in the Italian Alps. And then for the first time, I was without a dog. And that continued for the next few years where we worked very long hours. And then out of season, we enjoyed really long holidays away. So we just did not have a lifestyle that was adapted to being a dog owner. And I miss dogs immensely. And during that period, I was working in events on both sides. So I was working with tourists as a rep, managing holiday resorts, and then organizing events for big companies, and also managing venues, hotels, bar, disco, all kinds of things like that. So I was very involved in being right in the middle of lots and lots of people. It was a lot of fun, but it was exhausting, and I spent a lot of time on my feet. So much so that even whilst I was on the transplant list, I was still working 12-hour days on my feet behind the bar and looking after managing the bar and the events in the nightclub. So exhausting. Obviously, in the end, I had to give that up. And post transplant, I was told that only there were some types of work that were no longer permitted. And one of those was working in spaces that were full of other people and all of their germs. Because things like colds and flu, obviously, it was much easier to catch post transplant with the medication that we're on, and the effects would be worse for us. So, obviously, I wanted to avoid that. So, I gave up. I'd already given up working in the bar and the venues. I did a little bit of events work, but made sure it was always during the summer months to avoid flu. Then, of course, COVID came along, and I could no longer avoid it. It was an all year round virus. And so after that, I stopped working, managing even the hotel. I just didn't think it was worth the risk. So during this time post transplant, I'd gone a whole 12 months after my transplant before getting a dog in a home, as you are advised to do. And very unfortunately, just a week before I actually finally got my successful transplant call, our dog Sheila had passed away. It was a horrible time, obviously, and then obviously I was lucky enough to get a transplant. So, having gone 12 months without a dog, I have to say, not in our home, but I did often offer other dog owners I knew free dog walking just so I could take a dog out with me whilst I was rehabbing. Because, as any of you who have dogs know, the only way to go for a walk is with a dog for company, or it's just not the same. So anyway, finally the 12 months passed, and I'd already been looking at dogs and shelter dogs online because I didn't want to go into an indoor shelter and the risk of germs and everything to choose a dog for myself, and I knew it would be difficult to do. So I'd been looking online. There's plenty of dogs looking for homes that are advertised online. I was looking for dogs right across Italy where I live. And so obviously that search amped up the closer I got to the 12-month mark. Eventually, my partner Paolo and I settled on a dog called Lola. She was to come from the south of Italy, Campobasso, where she'd been found roaming the streets and had obviously just had puppies. Her milk was just disappearing when she was, she'd actually jumped into someone's car to be rescued. So I think she'd probably heard a big bang, knowing her as I did after that. And so anyway, she was the dog we chose. She was a beautiful dog. Just the most beautiful dog. She was a crossbreed, ex-hunting for sure, and lots of different dogs in there, but they were all, every single one of them was a hunting dog. She was 100% hunting. As I later learned through the year, she was a tracking dog. Her reason to live was to follow a scent for kilometers and kilometers and hours, and only really stop when she could no longer move one paw in front of the other. So anyway, she came to us. She was pretty traumatized. She was scared of everything. She was terrified of noises. She didn't really love people. She was worried by a lot of them, especially men. She was worried by toddlers. She had lots of issues, but she was a lovely, sweet-natured dog. And slowly, she started to come out of herself. And in my efforts to help her, I started to learn more and more about dogs. And obviously, there's loads of stuff online. I had to trawl through all the aversive stuff before I found something that really resonated with me. So I finally found some games-based training, UK-based trainers, which I absolutely adored, and they also did online training. So I fully immersed myself into that as a way to help Lola and all her difficulties in life. And yeah, as I say, she started to get happy and wag her tail and start to enjoy play with toys and with food, and she would engage more with me. And would be less terrified everywhere, at home, out and about, with noises. So it was enormously satisfying to see. But as I grew and grew as a dog trainer, because when I first got Lola, obviously I'd lived with dogs all my life, so I thought I knew plenty about dogs. But when she came to us, I realized that I really knew nothing at all. So it was an amazing journey for me. And as well as being my heart dog, Lola really was the dog that taught me everything, everything that I know. So, I'm very grateful to her for that, even though she's no longer with us. So I qualified as a dog trainer. And then obviously I wanted to use my skills on more dogs than Lola. I wanted to spread the love. I didn't really want to get involved in, at that stage, anything commercially. I was still working, and so I was doing it as a hobby. But I did want to go and improve on my skills, so I asked at the local dog shelter if I could go and volunteer there with a specific interest in playing with the dogs and training the dogs and doing enrichment with them. Anyway, so they let me start there, and I've been volunteering there now for about 6 years. So I do get to spend lots of time with the dogs, grooming them, walking them, playing with them in the runs, and especially doing lots of enrichments to increase their confidence, and games to train them and prepare them for adoption. I also spent about 5 years very involved in the adoption program, pretty much supporting every adopter with their dogs, so helping the dogs out pre and post adoption, and working as a dog trainer for some of those new adoptees to help the dog out in their new home. So massively rewarding. Obviously gained tons of experience from all the different kinds of dogs, all the different kinds of struggles, all the different kinds of breeds, ages, pretty much anything and everything you can imagine. You can find dogs of all kinds in the shelter. So I did then start taking on some clients one-to-one when I could fit it in with the rest of my life. And during those years, I also started to learn about TTouch, which is a lovely way to work with humans or dogs. And it works on the nervous system, helping to balance the animal or human mentally and physically. It can be very calming. It helps build a lovely rapport with your companion animal. So it's just a lovely way to work. And slowly, I've been gaining knowledge and experience in that field. And I'm now delighted to say I'm a qualified TTouch practitioner. So I'm very much enjoying that. And I've also, about 6 months into an 18-month level 6 OFCAL behaviour diploma. So that will then make me a dog behaviourist. So hopefully in the future, what I'm hoping to do is put together my expertise with training dogs based on their behaviour struggles, and bringing TTouch into that to balance their nervous system. So yeah, I've really come through a bit of an evolution through my journey, through having pulmonary hypertension and obviously no longer being able to work, coming out of the other side of that, and then having to quit through to the risk to myself. and just finding a new passion, which is now leading me to a whole new career. So I hope this can motivate some of you out there to look around you and see what other things you could be interested and where else life could take you. There's definitely much more to life than the job that you're currently doing or you were doing pre-diagnosis. The one thing I would say is obviously there are risks to working with animals. I don't ever clean out the kennels where the dogs live. I work with them outside. I'm very careful, obviously, to not let them lick my face. I wash my hands rigorously after every dog. I make sure I'm not then putting my hands in my mouth. So just to ensure there's no contamination from all the bacteria that they have in their mouths and on them, just general dirt. So it's just to be careful when you're working with them that you stay safe and don't put yourself under any unnecessary risk. So anyway, if you are looking at a change of career or you've already had one, do let me know in the comments below. Thank you.